Like every other Western industrialised nation, we won't sustainably live within our means with unreformed public services and outdated welfare systems.
I want Nhs Test not to be a byword for failure, but a catalyst for change. To create an NHS where everyone can be confident of safe, high-quality, compassionate care.
We will never get the right culture on our wards if they are understaffed and overstretched. But there is evidence that things are going in the wrong direction, and the Secretary of State was silent on this today.
Since 1997, the Labour government have embarked on reforming the National Health Service in order to provide universal free access to healthcare. An important part of this process was the creation of foundation trusts.
He'd had no pain relief whatsoever after having his large bowel removed.
The care was, well, it wasn't care, you wouldn't treat a dog like it.
She said she's so dehydrated that the urine's coming through her skin.
Robert Francis has led an independent inquiry into care provided by Mid Staffordshire NHS Trust. This report illustrated mortality rates of over 1,200 people who died due to failures at every level.
There was a lack of care, compassion, humanity and leadership. The most basic standards of care were not observed, and fundamental rights to dignity were not respected.
Practitioners have a large margin of error with regard to the mistreating of patients, but less accountability towards their actions, considering clinical mortality. There is no accurate and reliable information relating to mortality rates in hospitals. As was the case with Mid Staffordshire Trust Foundation, mortality rates were an astonishing 2% lower than the national average.
The Trust changed the way they recorded patient deaths, which had the effect of making their terrible statistics look better. In 2007, the Trust had recorded fewer than 1% of deaths as patients expected to die. By the following year, they had dramatically increased to nearly 35%. Yet at that time, the national average was just 9%.
Dr. Philip Lee said there was misleading information about the performance in order to maintain public confidence in health services. Lee argues that the Trust tried to mask poor care figures by reclassifying deaths as palliative care. Causes of death are not properly disclosed to relatives or patients. Misleading and exaggerated information about hospital performance is conveyed to the public. The report also mentioned that financial issues represented a concern in 2004, in addition to serious organisational issues for a sustained period. These issues will make it hard to solve difficulties of recent origin.
My mum had so many hospital-borne infections that she has to be buried in a body bag. So the last couple of minutes I have of my mum was the memory of my mum's head protruding from a body bag.
No, it didn't take anybody to know that that bed was filthy. Then they should have known that she wanted to be cleaned. You could see by looking at her, she needed to be cleaned. I took photographs of her on the day. I mean, they're just horrendous. She just looks like something out of Elson. I mean, that should never happen.
The Trust Board gave excuses that its members were responsible for strategic and not operational direction. Although it is true, but there was no governance structure in place, and it was necessary that directors check by themselves what was actually happening. The report also criticised the lack of clarity in regard to the responsibility of nursing issues, such as the roles and standards within the department. Organisational assessment approaches took priority over the patients and their families' experiences, which made the staff care more about fulfilling the standards rather than improving results. The inquiry has seen evidence of a significant lack of transparency. Internally, feedback in relation to complaints and incident report was often absent. Clinical audit was not fostered, Likewise, mortality and morbidity reviews. Externally, the public was unnecessarily excluded from board meetings. The degree of engagement with local bodies has been questioned, and in one serious case, a report that should have been made available to the coroner was not sent. Malpractice is not held accountable due to the lack of transparency and the absence of strict policies of accountability. Deaths of thousands of patients obstruct the learning process and delays in victims learning the truth. The system prevents disclosure of information about financial and administrative issues. By 2014, the NHS will provide reliable and accurate information to the public through a comprehensive open system.
The first priority is to
ensure the performance of delivering the highest quality of healthcare services and not tolerate malpractice. Secure the performance of NHS in order to be more effective. To provide excellent healthcare services to the residents of the United Kingdom to decrease the mortality rate. Values: effective, transparent, responsible, caring, up to date. Aim 1. Grant residents of the United Kingdom best medical and healthcare services. Objectives: improving the performance in order to reach the optimum capacity of the NHS. Providing healthcare services in the best way to increase vitality rate. Aim 2. Increase accountability and transparency within the Trust foundations throughout the country. Objectives: providing clear, trustworthy and reliable indicators of performance, practice and financial management and make them available when requested. Not tolerating with corruption and malpractice by subjecting any act of this kind to proper sanctions. Engaging the public and allowing external monitoring in the practice of NHS staff.
At every level, there was a failure to communicate known concerns adequately to others and to take sufficient action to protect patients' safety and well-being from the risks arising from those concerns. In short, the trust that the public should be able to place in the National Health Service was betrayed.
So here it is, 1, 2, 3 volumes of the Francis Inquiry report. There were 1 million pages of evidence, 250 witnesses, but what it all boiled down to was that there was a complete failure of the system.
Last but not least, the NHS must utilise their operational policy at all levels to ensure the delivery of excellent healthcare services. Patients and their families should have full access to reliable and accurate information related to their conditions, including any medical error or malpractice that could happen at any point. Also, the medical establishment should provide transparent information regarding the expenditure and the practice within. Malpractice actions, including medical errors, wrong diagnosis, shallow examinations and incompetent treatment, should expose staff involved to strict measures and ensure they are held accountable. The policy would also stress on the importance of the recommendations of the Francis Report, which includes audits, procurement, financial management, beneficiary level inputs, community participation and sensitisation, upgrading grievance and recourse management mechanisms, social audits, and processing compliance through civil society organisations.